Good evening, everyone. How are you? I told you now that we have started solving 10 MCQs questions. That is actually the deep concept term I have tried to find out. I hope it will be helpful. So, how do you like the previous class that we have started? Do comment. Let's start the questions from 11, 10 questions we have done in the previous class. If any of you have missed, you can go to the description or bio and watch. Okay. So remaining questions we will discuss. I have told you 10 questions per day. We will solve and we will analyze ourselves and we will prepare more such questions. So before starting the class, I would like to tell you that here I have cleared your doubt that how you can become the member. The only by joining only one level of the channel, becoming a rising professor, actually, you can take a look here and after this, let's start the class. Okay, what you will get for paper 2 and paper 1. One level, one mission for all future assistant professor. Free detailed class. I am running. Notes have been provided on Telegram. PYQs with explanation and PDF. For this, you have to become the rising professor. Mock test PDF including 500, 600, 200, 300. Each type of mock test based on all 10 units you can get. MCQs practice with explanation the way I'm doing right now. And paper 1 MCQs, mock test, PDF, concept clarity, general support, strategies, everything you can get. How you can get? Here is the email, or if need, I will share the WhatsApp number also for the PDF and a note. Okay. So let's start the class. Here is the question number 11. Speculative realism is a contemporary philosophical movement primarily united in its opposition to what long-standing philosophical tradition? Nihilism, option A. Option B, co-relationism. Option C, Marxism, and option D, postmodernism. Speculative realism is a contemporary philosophical movement that primarily united in its opposition to what long-standing philosophical tradition? You have to comment. Options 4, you have seen nihilism, correlationism, Marxism, or postmodernism. So correct answer of this question is option B, that is a correlationism. Okay, correlationism is a contemporary philosophical movement primarily united in its opposition to correlationism. The movement defined itself against the dominant forms of post-Kantian philosophy. Especially you will find in the continental tradition, which in their view limit philosophical inquiry and the relationship between the human mind and the world. Okay, as it appears to us that is the being, thereby making it impossible to philosophize. It means the key thinkers that actually relate to speculative realism, you will find Quentin Mallox, Graham Herman, Ray Brazier, and Lane Hamilton Grant. That their aim was to break out of this correlationist circle and return to a form of metaphysical realism. So these are the highlights of speculative realism. Remember the writers who are associated with the key thinkers. Here, Graham, Ray Brazier, and Lane Hamilton Grant. What was their aim? Their aim was to break out of the correlationist circle. Next question we have. Which author's work such as the Earth Seed series is cited as a key example of a speculative realism literature that challenges utopian dystopian norms and explores race and social organization? N.K. Jemisin, Octavia Butler, Colson Whitehead, Don D. Leo. Which author's work? The Earth Seed series is cited as a key example of speculative realism. You have to find out in literature the example work of speculative realism. So correct answer is option B, Octavia Butler. Okay. The author whose work such as the Earthseed series is cited as a key example of speculative realism literature that challenges utopian and dystopian is actually related with Octavia Butler. His Butler's speculative fiction, including the Earthseed series, is recognized for its innovative engagement with social, racial, and political themes. Okay, so remember. Next question we have. Xenofeminism, A Politics for Alienation, 2015, a manifesto that advocates leveraging technology to dismantle gender constraints and embrace a cyber feminism, was published by which collective? Anonymous, Wooming, Laboria, Cubunks, or Pussy Riot? Xenofeminism, A Politics for Alienation, 2015. That is a manifesto. Correct answer of this question? Let's see. It's option C, Laboria Cubonics. The manifesto, Xenofeminism, you will find in the Laboria Cubonics. This feminist collective advocates leveraging technology to dismantle the gender constraints and embrace a cyber feminism related to Donna Haraway that calls for using technology and rationalism to achieve social emancipation beyond traditional gender, race, and class categories. Okay. So, according to Laboria Cubonic's manifesto, situates xenofeminism as a forward-thinking, technological feminism that affirms alienation as a political tool for transformation. These type of concept that actually it's like a, I don't know where they have taken. That means NTA go too deep down to find such concept for exam, right? Let's see the next question, everyone. The concept of new materialism in critical theory seeks to disrupt traditional dualisms like mind, body, and nature culture by focusing on the idea that agency and vitality might be inherent in what? Language and discourse, human consciousness, matter itself, divine intervention. See, this is the only medium YouTube I can teach. I'm not going to teach here or there. And for the PDF notes I have created, you can also join the Telegram. One, two, three questions, concept I keep sharing, and the students discusses. So you can join easily willingly. Let's see the correct answer of this question. Option C, matter itself. So the concept new materialism. Okay, so option C, matter itself, is going to be related. New materialism aims to move beyond traditional dualisms by exploring the active, dynamic, and non human processes of matter, thereby challenging anthropocentric views and considering the agency of things, objects, and the physical world. So, this is what the new materialism relates with the matter itself. Okay, next question we have. Which philosopher is a prominent figure in left wing accelerationism, arguing for the repurposing of capitalist technology and infrastructure, like you have automation and big data, to achieve post capitalism and democratic economic planning? Which is going to be the correct answer? Nick Land, Graham Herman, Ray Brazier, Nick Cernick, and Alex Williams. I forgot to tell you the options. Correct answer, everyone. Correct answer of this question would be, it's option D. Option D, Nick Cernick and Alex Williams is the correct answer, that actually related with left wing accelerationism. Okay, they argued for repurposing of capitalist technology and infrastructure. Okay, so why they argued to achieve post capitalism and democratic economic planning? So the writers, you can remember the philosophers. Their key ideas here mentioned. Their key ideas outlined in the Accelerate Manifesto for an Accelerationist Politics in 2013. This is the work. And the book Inventing the Future, Post Capitalism and a World Without Work, 2015. What they have included here? Using existing capitalist infrastructure and technology as a springboard to a post capitalist future. Advocating for democratic control over technology and economic planning in the style of historical efforts like you have Project Cybersyn. Remember, promoting a Promethean politics of maximal mystery over society and the environment to solve global problems and overcome the limitations of capital, and also embracing automation to reduce working hours and move towards a post-work society with a universal basic income rather than fearing it as a job killer under capitalism. So these are the important highlights you must remember. The Worker 2013 Accelerate Manifesto for an Accelerationist Politics. Okay, Springboard, Cyber Scene. Next question we have, which author is a foundational figure in Afrofuturism? A cultural aesthetics combining elements of science fiction, historical fantasy, and magical realism to explore the African American history and identity. See the options. It's Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, Octavia Butler, Paulson Whitehead, Ta-Nehisi Coates. All the 10 units, you must know all the important writers, including the major and the minor one, with their work publication year and the origin and the birth year of the writers to solve the matchology questions. Matching or the statement based question is also. I'm thinking. No need. Correct answer Afrofuturism, cultural aesthetics combining elements of science fiction, historical fantasy, and magical realism. Find out the correct answer. Correct answer of this question, let's see. It's option B, Octavia Butler. Okay, Octavia Butler is a foundational figure in Afrofuturism, a cultural aesthetic combining. So, she explores African American history and identity. She reshaped science fiction by featuring black protagonists and addressing themes of race, gender, power, and social organization through futuristic and speculative narratives. Okay, so remember her Earth Seed series. One of the questions related you have seen in the previous video of the same series questions. Envision egalitarian futures and alternative social orders, making her a key influencer and foremother of Afrofuturism as both an artistic and political movement. Okay. So Octavia Butler is also very important, remember. Next question we have, the essay Decolonization is Not a Metaphor, written by Eve Tuck and K. Wayne Young, offers a significant critique of how the term decolonization is often misused in academy and social justice context. What do they argue it should primarily refers to? The question is too long. Options, a shift in academic curriculum to include more diverse authors, to a process of psychological healing from colonial trauma, the literal repatriation of land to indigenous peoples, or a new theoretical lens for literary analysis. I'm not waiting for December, but I started such questions in this month so that you can revise and watch and revise again and again. And you can find more such concepts and questions and solve. Mock test link I have shared on the Telegram. It is pinned. You can go and watch. You can join the Telegram. Let's see the correct answer of this question. It's option C, the literal repatriation of land to indigenous people. Okay. All these writers, they basically argued that decolonization should primarily refer to the literal repatriation of indigenous land and life, not to other social injustice initiatives. They criticize the metaphorical use of the term as a settler move to innocence that avoids addressing and land and sovereignty. Okay, so these are the highlights of the question. Next question we have, the term viral for ideas, memes, or information spreading rapidly, rumors the way it is spread, and memes themselves, units of cultural transmission, were popularized by which evolutionary biologist and writer? Richard Dawkins, Stephen Jay Gould, Daniel Dennett, E.O. Wilson. Who popularized the term viral? See how this question has been twisted. The term viral. I will also bring the sample paper questions. There are a lot of things I have already prepared, but I'm not getting the time to record. Let's see the correct answer, everyone. Option A, Richard Dawkins would be the correct answer. Okay. The term viral were popularized by the British evolutionary biologist and writer Richard Dawkins. He introduced the concept of the memes in his 1970 book, The Selfish Gene, to describe how cultural information could replicate and evolve in a way analogs to biological genes. We all use emojis today rather than texting to describe ourselves, emotions, to text. Now let's see few questions. 20 questions still we will do. So the question will be based on diverse contemporary theories and the writers. Okay. Question number 19. Which prominent feminist philosopher developed the theory of gender performativity, arguing that gender is not a stable identity but rather a performance or set of repeated acts that produce the effect of a natural gender? Sarah Ahmed, Hugh Kosofsky Sedgwick, Judith Butler, Donna Haraway. It's easy. I have already shared in class. Gender performativity, it suggests option C. Option C is the correct answer. The prominent philosopher who actually developed the theory of gender performativity is Judith Butler. She argues that gender is not a stable identity but rather a performance or set of repeated acts that produce the effect of natural gender. Butler represented this concept in their influential 1990 book, Gender Trouble, Feminism and the Subversion of Identity. Okay, now let's see the next question. The concept of intersectionality, which describes how various social categories like race, class, gender, and disability overlap and create interlocking system of oppression and privilege, was notably developed by which critical race theorist? Correct answer. Let me tell you the options: Kimberly Crenshaw, Audre Lorde, Patricia Hill Collins, Bell Hooks. Intersectionality, which describe how various social categories like we have race, class, gender, and disability overlap. Correct answer of the question would be option A. Crenshaw is widely credited with coining and popularizing the term. Okay. The concept of intersectionality was notably developed by critical race theorist Kimberly Crenshaw. She introduced the theory in a 1989 paper, Demarginalizing the Intersection of Race and Sex, a black feminist critique of anti-discrimination doctrine, feminist theory, and anti-racist politics. So this is the correct answer, Crenshaw, Kimberly Crenshaw. Okay. In the work 1989 paper Demarginalizing the Intersection of Race and Sex, the name is too long, of black feminist critic. So 20 questions we have finished, everybody. There are a lot more such questions you all have to practice. So how do you like the class? Do comment at least that if you want more videos, more questions like this, I should prepare or I should stop. So that without not to waste time on such questions, I will prepare something else. Thank you so much for being a regular visitor, regular viewer, regular supporter. Do take care of yourself and bye bye. Don't forget to subscribe.